Well, hi everybody. This is episode 3. I'm Steve Boston, and I'm a TV producer and documentarian. I recently did a short documentary in Ukraine and have produced 2 TV shows and pitched a whole lot more. But the reason I'm doing this series of short episodes, and they're called Ideas That Started America, is because I believe we are at a time in history where a lot of people are questioning what is going on. The Republicans and Democrats both accuse each other as being a threat to democracy, and they're probably both right in a sense, is that there is a threat to democracy, and I think that threat is that there is this way too much surveillance, a subjugation of freedom of speech, way too much money in politics, way too much corruption. The reason I think many people don't vote is because they feel that their vote doesn't really count. And if we really look at it, when we go to vote in the primaries and then in the general election, the candidates are pretty much chosen for us by virtue of all the money that's given to their PACs and super PACs from corporations and large financiers. So we go to vote for 2 people who have been selected for us that really don't represent the people's interest. And so I believe we have to go back in time to look back at the ideas and ideals that started America, and to rekindle in our own minds how we should go forward. As I said before, I believe we are at that point in history where people need to have more power. In theory, it's the people are really the government, but it just really is not like that anymore. We are more of the people who are being told how this is going to be, rather than the people being actually telling the government what should be going on. So I think that if we go back in history and look at some of these ideas, we will come to the conclusion that we do need more of a direct form of democracy, as in ancient Greece, where the people have more power to decide what is going on. And in this particular episode, I think one particular individual who came before Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and the rest, basically 100 years before, and he was most active from 1650 to about 1700 in England. His name was John Locke. He was a philosopher and physician. And a lot of his ideas, if you look at our Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, they are based on much of his philosophy. And Thomas Jefferson's philosophy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, with John Locke, he was stating that it's life, liberty, and property, almost the same words, but he focused a little bit more on property. And he believed that these particular rights were human rights that preceded government, that created the basis for what government was supposed to be, and where government was supposed to protect those rights. And I think he is a influential and pivotal figure that this particular video will just introduce him for about 2 minutes and maybe rekindle some of your thought and some of your opinions on how we should go forward and try to bring back the ideas and ideals that started America, that we need to, I think, almost rekindle our process and have a debate on how to go forward. And in my opinion, we need to incorporate an element, not a complete change, but we need to incorporate an element of direct democracy. Direct democracy means the people, through referendums, have the ability to override the representatives' decisions by a large majority of the people voting. The technology is there to do this. I think we can no longer let the financiers and big corporations rule over us and in their own interest. Of course, everybody does things for their own interest. That's natural. But the people's interests are being blotted out, in my opinion. So that's why it's important to go back and look at these ideas of John Locke. Think about them. And please leave some comments below on how you think we can go forward into the future and bring back those American ideals that we started with. I mean, after all, is democracy, is it really delivering what it promised? It can, and in a more pure form, it can even be more powerful for the people. The power has to return to the people, and that's what this particular series is about. And agree or disagree, that's what it's all about. Opposing opinions, that's what America is all about. We are not supposed to subjugate one side's opinions over the other. We're supposed to hear each other out. So let's do that. So stay tuned now for this basically 2-minute introduction on John Locke. Please follow up with more study on your own, and later in episode 4, and then you can also watch episode 1 and 2 about ancient Greece and the Magna Carta, both integral ideas to our democracy. So thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next time. Please stay tuned now for John Locke. Thank you.
When we think of the birth of American democracy, names like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and Benjamin Franklin come to mind. But behind the scenes, before the Constitution, before the Declaration of Independence, there was another name shaping their thinking: John Locke, an English philosopher from the 1600s. John Locke wasn't a politician. He was a thinker, a writer, a man who dared to challenge the idea that kings ruled by divine right. Instead, he believed something revolutionary for his time: that government should exist with the consent of the governed, and that people have natural rights: life, liberty, and property. Sound familiar? That's because Thomas Jefferson borrowed heavily from Locke when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. Locke's idea of life, liberty, and property was reimagined as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But the core belief remained the same: that government's job is to protect our natural rights, and if it doesn't, the people have the right to change or even overthrow it. Locke's ideas gave the American colonists a philosophical foundation to challenge British rule. His writing didn't just inspire, they empowered. They offered a blueprint for a government built by the people, for the people. Even beyond the Declaration, Locke's fingerprints are all over the U.S. Constitution. His emphasis on limited government, separation of powers, and individual freedom helped shape the very structure of American democracy. So the next time you hear the words, "we the people," remember, they weren't just born out of rebellion. They were sparked by ideas. And one of the most powerful came from a quiet English philosopher who believed that freedom wasn't a privilege, it was a right. With all of the accusations today from both the political left and the political right, that the opposing side is the one that is a threat to democracy, perhaps the better question should be, is our democracy in line with our original ideas and ideals? If a poll were taken today, what would the majority of people say, yes or no?